Hello everyone, my name is Liam. Welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And give this video a like up. Young Sheldon's ending is largely determined by the Big Bang Theory's established canon, meaning that Sheldon only has 1 year left in college before moving to Pasadena for post-grad studies at Caltech. The focus of young Sheldon has shifted away from just Sheldon and onto the rest of the Cooper family, indicating that the show has outgrown its original premise. The young actors on Young Sheldon are aging out of their roles, as they are nearing 15 while their characters are about to turn 1. This age difference has become noticeable and was even criticized, leading to the decision to end the show. There are several reasons that CBS ended Young Sheldon after season 7, despite its continued popularity. Sheldon said goodbye with a 2-episode season final that aired on May 16, 2024. The second episode, Memoir, cut back and forth between Sheldon in the timeline of Young Sheldon and the narrator Sheldon in the future, effectively ending any possibility of a revival for another season. This may come as a shock, considering that Young Sheldon remains a massive ratings hit on CBS, even becoming its #1 comedy for the 2022 to 2023 season. But its potential ending has long been being discussed. When The Big Bang Theory ended in 2019, it was also still very popular. CBS wanted to order at least one more season of the show, but Jim Parsons' decision to exit the series as Sheldon Cooper after season 12 basically forced the rest of the cast to wrap up the series. Things are different for Young Sheldon, however, since the main cast has been vocal about wanting to continue doing the spin-off. That being said, several elements are not within their control, and that ultimately spelled the end of the family comedy, even though it is at the peak of its popularity. The primary driving force behind Young Sheldon's season 7 ending is the Big Bang Theory's established canon. Because of its prequel nature, the spin-off has a predetermined end the moment it premiered in 2017. Sadly, the final season was already approaching that point in the timeline. Deviating from the narrative schedule is far too big of a plot hole to ignore. According to the Big Bang Theory lore, Sheldon only has 1 year left in college when he returns from Germany in Young Sheldon season 7. After that, he moves to Pasadena to begin his post-grad studies at Caltech. That left the offshoot just enough time to send him off. The fact that Sheldon was leaving the series to go to Germany, and then to Caltech, there was no longer a story to tell when it came to this specific character. When Sheldon's story ends, this series ends. But that does not mean the end for the Young Sheldon universe. The idea for Young Sheldon came from CBS' attempt to further capitalize on the popularity of the Big Bang Theory, and there was no better way to do that than by awarding its most recognizable character his own show. Sheldon's penchant for sharing anecdotes about his childhood in the Big Bang Theory became the launching pad for the narrative, resulting in a prequel that is set in Texas. In the last couple of years, however, Young Sheldon has clearly outgrown its premise. Instead of Sheldon being the focal point of the series, it has diversified its storytelling and increased its focus on the rest of the Coopers. The end of Sheldon's story, though, does not mean the end of the Cooper family's story. While there were complaints about the network canceling Young Sheldon from the cast, the complaints were short-sighted because things do not end with the end of Young Sheldon. When it debuted, Young Sheldon was a hit right out of the gate. CBS was understandably thrilled about this, awarding the show multi-year renewals. In 2021, the network gave the prequel a rare 3-year order, guaranteeing its run until the 2023 to 2024 TV season. Moving beyond that timeframe means that everyone involved would have to get back to the negotiating table for brand new contracts. It seemed that CBS didn't want to deal with what potentially could be a rigorous process. However, the spin-off shows that this is only a minor consideration. While Ian Armitage is leaving the franchise, at least as a full-time star, the franchise continues on with a sequel series. And while Armitage will not be returning, at least 2 of the cast members are coming for the spin-off series, because it centers on Georgie and Mandy. Other actors from the series are also expected to return for the spin-off, as it would make little sense to introduce an entirely new cast of characters for this story. This does mean new contracts, but CBS was willing to do so thanks to the franchise's popularity. CBS kicked off young Sheldon with Sheldon and Missy, both 9 years old. This matched with Ian Armitage and Reagan Reward's real-life age at that time. However, knowing full well that the show can only run until Sheldon is 14 years old, which is when he begins his postgraduate studies in California, the network has slowed down the character's aging process. After 7 years, Sheldon and Missy are just about to turn 14 in Young Sheldon Season 7, when both Armitage and Reward had already turned 15 in 2024. The age difference has become more noticeable in Season 6, and was even a point of criticism. This will also be resolved with the spin-off about Georgie and Mandy, as they are both old enough that their ages don't matter as much, and they won't go through as many visible changes as they age. This might mean less screen time for Reagan, however. Characters like Mima could always still return as well. Back in 2022, Young Sheldon released its 100th episode, which helped in securing higher rates for syndication. At this point, the show was already in constant reruns, with the series entering syndication in local markets, covering roughly 90% of the United States back in September 2021. Subsequently, it entered off-network syndication on TBS. Considering this, Warner Bros. Television can continue shopping the show with a lucrative deal now that it is already well past 100 episodes. By the time the show ended, it was sitting at 141 episodes, and those will play on for a long time thanks to the syndication deals. This also will play into the spin-off series. As long as Young Sheldon is playing in constant reruns, fans can watch it, and The Big Bang Theory, and then follow along with the Georgie and Mandy series that takes place between those two franchise shows. Young Sheldon has kept the Big Bang Theory universe alive since the nerd-centric sitcom ended its run in 2019. Despite gradually breaking away from its parent show, Chuck Lorre and Bill Prady's franchise remains relevant years after its mothership show wrapped up thanks to the success of the prequel. Knowing full well how popular the universe is, there are plans to further expand it via another spin-off. The series is titled Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, and that title says a lot. There were jokes on The Big Bang Theory about Georgie's failed marriages, with him marrying the older Mandy in the Young Sheldon final season. Fans knew from TBBT that their relationship was doomed. However, now it appears that isn't the case if the title means they get married more than once. What this also means is that Mary Cooper, So Perry, Mima, Annie Potts, and possibly even Missy, Reagan Reward could appear and keep their roles going after Young Sheldon. Aside from being part of CBS primetime programming, not to mention being in syndication, Young Sheldon is also accessible through streaming services. It is currently available to watch on demand on Warner Media's Max service, Max like its parent series. Beyond that, however, it is also available on Netflix outside of the US. In 2021, the streaming giant has included the family comedy in its catalog for Australia, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Given this, Warner Media can keep the show relevant and profitable so that it doesn't really have any real motivation to continue Young Sheldon beyond Season 7. Of course, there will be plenty of chances for the franchise universe to continue on. Not only are Georgie and Mandy getting their own show, but there are still plans to make another spin-off from The Big Bang Theory itself, possibly for exclusive Max streaming. Ending Young Sheldon allows Warner to expand the series and still make money off this one in streaming. CBS spent years dancing around Sheldon's story about catching his dad in bed with another woman, and understandably so. Despite how he was painted in The Big Bang Theory, George is actually a decent dad in the prequel, and staying true to canon will drastically change the usually lighthearted show. While it can get away with ignoring the affair, Young Sheldon couldn't escape George's death, which took place when Sheldon was 14. It would have been difficult for the show to move forward without the Cooper patriarch. Ending it with a shortened Young Sheldon Season 7 allowed the network to end on a high note, but not push on too much further after Sheldon lost his dad. That is also a nice reason to switch to George and Mandy's first marriage. Georgie showed up on The Big Bang Theory, and he clearly had a grudge against Sheldon for leaving for brighter pastures while he had to stay home and support the family. That makes it important to leave young Sheldon for the new story. The young Sheldon final perfectly encapsulated the show and helped wrap up some plot holes fans noticed. The final saw the George Cooper funeral and his family starting to move on from this great loss. It also showed Sheldon leaving home for Caltech, ending his story and this series in general. It also had a flash forward that explained that an adult Sheldon Cooper was writing his memoir. The plot holes were not really holes at all. They were what Sheldon described to Amy as his memories. He wasn't going to bury his dad in his memoir. The young Sheldon final proved what many of the cast members have said since CBS announced it was canceling the popular sitcom series. Almost 9 million people tuned in to watch the final, with the funeral and Sheldon Cooper's journey to his real home at Caltech. In the Screen Rant review of the series, the best part of the series is the Coopers. The way George's death and the subsequent funeral is handled is a masterclass in balancing drama and humor. The series ended in the best way it could, considering the limitations. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.